Greetings, humans, I'm Retrobot, and you are not. Ha ha hiki ho ho. Here I go.
Oh!
Ouch. Pull me out.
Oh boy, Retrobot. It's closing time. Lights out. I'll pull you out tomorrow.
Hey, wait.
Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Retro Ernest of Retro Electro Tech, and what we're looking at on the bench is the underside of the keyboard section from the ARP Odyssey Mark II that I've been working on for some time. This was by no means a rush project. I have several vintage and collectible synths that I'm restoring, and this is one of them. And this one was and is still in rough shape as far as a lot of tarnish, a lot of oxidation, a lot of dust and debris and hair and all that stuff, all impregnated into the keyboard, and just really dirty. It just needs a lot of attention as far as connection issues go. And I'm going to get back to this board in just a minute here, but let me move up here. First of all, some of you may recall that in a previous video I was working on the power supply first, because as I always say, these power supplies are obviously the heart of these units and pieces of equipment here. So we want to make sure that they're in good shape, that we bring up the reliability factor of the power supply for sure to start with. And this one had a blown fuse or open fuse, whatever. It had physically leaky caps in here. I did pull the transistors, past transistors, all that, and test them out of circuit, checked all the resistors, and there were one or two that were out of tolerance that I replaced, and so forth and so on. And just touched up solder joints on the board, and just went through and just tested everything, and the power supply checked out okay after that. And but I had zero sound whatsoever, and I finally gotten to the point where I'm making progress. Lots and lots of solder joints that needed attention and still need attention. There's a lot of these, and let me zoom in here. Actually, let me zoom down here. There's a lot of these connectors and these pins, including this main interconnect here, this board that, let me zoom out here, that connects all of the main boards together, okay, and it utilizes that connector and pin arrangement that I just pointed out. And these boards are exceptionally thin, okay, and the problem is there's evidence of molestation in this unit for sure. There has been hands in here over the years. With this particular unit, I need to say that, and others like this with these thin boards, when people are in there extracting these boards and so forth, and they flex a bit, it's very easy to compromise solder joints on these things. So and I think that's the case here, because there's a lot of connection issues in here, and I have made some headway in that regard. But yeah, it's a problem with these. And anyways, so a lot of work on solder joints, reflowing. Let me move back down here to the keyboard, and I'll just kind of zoom in about as close as I can get here without it getting too blurry like it always does. But these bus rods here and all these contact wires here are oxidized, they're tarnished, and these need to be gone through very carefully, and they need to be cleaned in detail. Swabs and solvent, go through and really get everything resolved as far as that goes. Again, connection issues, and I need to go through this resistor string again and just double check everything and make sure everything is in tolerance. I breezed through really quick initially, but I need to go through in a little bit more detail and just check things out. And all the keys need to be pulled off, because I need to replace the rubber bushings, and I also need to level off these keys. I need to clean the other side of the key bed chassis here and get all the dust and debris and hair that's accumulated in this thing over the years. It all just needs to be done. So, and like I said, I already have been through the power supply. And another thing that I want to mention, and actually it's one of the main things that I had to do to this that I haven't mentioned, but in the previous video I did a few videos on this as I was going through initially, and all 32 of the VRs, variable resistors or sliders, were in very, very, very bad shape, very rough shape, and to the point, and this is no exaggeration, where most of them were seized or just about there. I demonstrated in a previous video when I was trying to move some of them just how badly seized up and really stiff they were. Just a lot of old adhesive on the top of the VRs, on the body of the VRs on the top. There was just a lot of crud that had worked its way under the bases of the actual slider knobs. So I was able to free up a lot of them, but there's several still that I'm actually going to have to remove from the board or boards and open up, disassemble, and clean out, because some of them are still pretty rough. And I got them to the point where they're working good enough, and most of them are. I flushed them and flushed them and flushed them and worked them and worked them and worked them until my wrist was burning, and I just had to exercise them to death, really, and flush them out, and then reintroduce lubricant in after. But some of them are still just not responding as good as I would like them to, and in the end, I may even have to replace some. So the point I'm getting at is that I still have a lot of work ahead of me. However, this is just a brief update on where I am with this thing. I have made forward progress, and let me go ahead and just kind of demonstrate that. I know it's an odd sound. It's like this synth is laughing at me. Okay, so you get my point. At least I'm getting sound out of it now. I was getting nothing out of it before. So that's where I am at this point, and I may or may not do any more videos on this, except for when I'm all done and I maybe do a final test or something. But other than that, I really need to move forward, and I've gotten to this point. I'm in the home stretch is what I'm trying to say, and so that's looking pretty good. And all I need to do, like I said, I have more work on solder joints, connections, cleaning connections, pins, all this area here, the bus rods, contact wires, leveling keys, like I said, new bushings, just cleaning everything up, a lot of stuff like that. But definitely am making forward progress. And then the last thing that I'm going to do, of course, is once I get everything to that point, I will perform some final electrical adjustments, suss out any problems if I notice them when I'm going through and function testing everything. If there is any issues, then I'll dive into the electronics at that time. But I think in the interest of time, I'm going to have to quit with the videos on this particular unit because I have so many other pieces of equipment that I'm working on. Older stuff that was not rush work, but I'm getting to the point where I'm just about to get a lot of that older stuff out the door now, including this. So that's about it, guys. Like I always say, peace, love, rock and roll, and of course, vintage audio. Stay tuned.
This is a poor man's shoe production.